Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate very much the opportunity to talk in this ISA² conference. Thank you very much. So, okay, let's go. Spain is doing a considerable effort in the implementation of digital government and interoperability aligned with the EIF in these years. And there are evidences of that progress in the benchmark, the DESI, the NIFO fact sheets, and other monitoring exercises. Well, and the questions are, why? Which are the key factors? How are we doing it? Why would Spain be a case of interest? First of all, because Spain is an ideal scenario for interoperability, a highly decentralized country, with a big public sector. So look, the delivery of digital public services in Spain involves multiple actors with different powers and interactions. So we have to cope with diversity and complexity. And we understood that a strong cooperation, essential for the delivery of better quality services, requires a strong interoperability. And it works the other way around. And how do we achieve this cooperation and interoperability? In the end, it's the result of a multidisciplinary and collective effort along the time on the basis of three issues, three things: the legal framework, cooperation and governance, and services, because this is no ordinary business. This is government. So let's see. First of all, legal framework. We have developed an exhaustive legal framework which covers all the areas needed for digital administration, providing legal certainty. This legal framework, the rules of the game, allows the large-scale deployment of services and contributes to fight reluctance to change in our complex organizations. Interoperability, aligned with the European EIF, is embedded in the legal framework. And in fact, interoperability is one of the main principles that public administrations have to follow. Without the legal framework, there is no legal certainty, but with only the legal framework, we would only have paper. We need something more: cooperation and governance. In spite of the administrative complexity of the country, there are bodies that work. There is a commission that joins all public administrations under the leadership of the General State Administration, whose functions are promoting e-government, ensuring interoperability, and ensuring cooperation in the delivery of public services. There is also structures in the General State Administration, and our CIO links both worlds. And we have also created forums for private-public partnership and cooperation that enable the engagement of civil society in the management of complex issues like e-invoice, citizens folder, or e-document. So, without cooperation, there is no consensus, there is no economies of scale, but with only cooperation, we would only have goodwill. So the third one is services, because services provide the reality in practice. We have developed a catalog of common services that respond to the functions defined in the legal provisions. They are projected to all public administrations, they work as building blocks, and the use of cloud technologies enables reaching small entities so that they can play at the same level as the entities that traditionally have resources. Okay, these three elements, the three of them, contribute to interoperability and contribute to alignment. We have developed our NIF following the wave of the European Interoperability Framework, and we have used it as a reference to structure and develop all the elements, including the notions of the link with the European instruments, with equivalent European instruments to our own services. How are we doing this? Well, we are using early alignment with awareness and dissemination. We are using contribution and feedback, the reuse, and I will come back to this in the slide of the ISA² impact, and the follow-up very, very closely of fact sheets and monitoring exercises. So if we come to the alignment with the EIF version 2, well, the work is based on the previous work of alignment with the first version. Then what we have done is a traffic light analysis and gap analysis to see which is our situation, red, green, yellow, in relation to the principles and in relation to the recommendations. We did the same with the tie-in declaration. We did the same with the regulation on the digital single gateway. Then we have also taken part in the exercise, drafting exercise and pilot of the draft questionnaire. We filled in to see how it worked and contributed to simplify and clarify the questionnaire for the EIF monitoring. And we have to do our homework, not only with the questions in red and yellow. There is room for improvement also in the other questions that appear in green. And now I reach this slide because I have mentioned that we have introduced in our legal framework the notion of the link with the equivalent European solutions and building blocks. We follow up closely the ISA² Programme, solutions and actions to identify correspondence with our own actions. And how are we doing this? 6 lines of action. The first one is the link with operational services. That's the link of our administrative network with Testa2, the link of our technology transfer center with JoinUp. The second one is the reuse of solutions. We are reusing Circa VC for our own committees and working groups, the UPL, the registry. The third one is the implementation of specifications. We have implemented the CAT in our national open data portal. We have implemented ADMS, and we are doing a big job with the implementation of the European legislative identifier. The official diary institution in Spain, Boletín Oficial del Estado, is doing a really hard work to implement the conceptual model, the URI, the metadata, with the collaboration of all public administrations. Mr. John Dunn, who will speak about this later, has contributed to this effort in Spain, and he has first-hand knowledge of what's happening there. Then the use of services. We are using CAMS for the identifications of specifications that we consider that should be identified. We introduced the criteria of CAMS of the old version in our legal framework. By the way, 10 years ago, the idea was promoted by Mr. Pelora Gramstad in the IWC conference in Ljubljana. Then we have the participation in pilots. We have participated in pilots of the ERA for the citizen folder. In this pilot experience with the monitoring questionnaire of the EIF, we are also participating with Portugal in an experience about the core public service vocabulary. And finally, we also contribute with proposals of actions. We proposed an action on a common approach to the exchange of documents and files that has produced the electronic document reference architecture, and we also contributed with an action about the representation powers and mandates that I have been very happy to know that it's of the interest for the top project. Well, this is not happening without difficulties, and we have a lot of challenges. We have to keep the dynamics between the legal framework, the cooperation, and the services. We have to keep this multidisciplinary approach, and collective will. We have to keep an eye with the alignment of European solutions and building blocks, about the impact of emerging technologies. And finally, this is not happening overnight. As you can imagine, it's a long road with our own actions, taking into account what's happening in the European Union. And we also share with ISA² the idea of the importance of measuring or quantifying in some way the impact of interoperability. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miguel.